This little beauty right here is the Tungteaser, one of the most versatile and useful patterns in our box. There are many variations of this fly, all of which catch fish throughout the year. It all begins with a good scud-style hook. Pinch the barb of a Daiichi 1120 in a size 16. The tungsten bead not only makes the name relevant, but helps you fish lead-free and get you down deep in a hurry. Push the point of the hook into the small hole and slide the bead up to the eye. Use a bead size that properly fits the size of the hook you're using. This is an 1/8" bead. Secure the bend of the hook in the jaws of your vise and add a base of 70 denier ultra thread of any color you have handy. Next, we'll want to tie in 2 Biot tails. In fly tying, Biots can be used to imitate the body, tail, legs, antenna, or wings of a number of different insects. Crisscross the Biots to create an X. Measure from this X to decide on tail length. Keep it about as long or maybe even a bit shorter than the hook shank. Transfer the Biot tips into your other hand and capture the X on the back end of the hook shank, just near the bend. Once secured with a few wraps, take a second to position the Biots into a nicely spaced forked tail. Trim away any excess Biot and make securing wraps to cover the residual. Then reach for some black or red wire. A little tip when using wire is to keep it secured when not in use. When ready to get after some tying, remove the wire from whatever keeper system you have and pull off a little more wire than you think you need. Instead of cutting it then, secure the wire back in your keeper before trimming your usable piece. This will prevent the wire from spinning off the spool and becoming unruly. Tie your wire onto the hook shank and bring your thread back to the original tie-in point. Tongue teasers are traditionally tied in Peacock, but Brassie Firestar dubbing provides a great look for imitating many insects at various stages. Make sure to tie a bunch in multiple color schemes to find out what works best on your home waters. Dub a sparse noodle and wrap it to the 3/4 point. Add or remove a bit of dubbing to create a nice tapered body that is a bit fat at the front, which is fine. Then you can make alternating wraps with your wire to create a segmented body that stands out. Secure the wire and helicopter it away from the hook. Next, reach for a pheasant or turkey tail feather. Snip 3 or 4 fibers from the stem and trim the brittle tips away. Tie the new tip section of feathers on top of the hook and back over the body about to the middle of the hook shank. This will act as our final wing case. Add a very small patch of Brassie Firestar dubbing to cover up any exposed thread wraps up behind the bead. There, we'll reach for a small partridge hackle. You can use any barred hackle fibers for this step: mallard flank, grizzly hackle, coq de leon, or any others that might work. Strip off the fuzzy butt ends and pull a small section of fibers down to align their tips. Hold these fibers at the tips and pull them down and away from the stem. Pinch the clump of fibers onto the side of the hook and add 1 or 2 loose wraps. Pull the butt ends to adjust the length of the legs if necessary. You want there to be about 1/4 inch of feathers protruding from the thorax. Trim away any excess before repeating the process on the other side of the fly. Make a few securing wraps to lock it into place before pulling your wing case over the top and tying it down just behind the bead. Make a few wraps in front and a few behind to make sure it's set in place. Finally, we'll dub a hot spot of Peacock Firestar dubbing for the thorax. Only 2 or 3 turns should do it. Keep it sparse. Whip finish and trim your thread and admire the new addition to your fly box. The Tungteaser is great fished alone. It's the perfect lead fly in a double nymph rig, or it's great as a dropper off the back of a Driftless Caddis or molluscan beetle, especially in the fall. Call your local fly shop and make sure they have the Larva lace products you need to tie up some sweet tongue teasers. Shoot Lorie an email or go to hagensfish.com for more information, and let us know if there's any flies you'd like to see tied with Larva lace products. Make sure you're stocked up before fly tying season is upon us. Larva Lace is a proud partner of the Fish Stories Archive, the first online library for angler voices and their fishing stories. As always, thank you for tying with Larva Lace products. We'll have 2 new videos for you again next month. Until then, tight lines and best fishes. From Larva Lace.